You're listening to The Bell Howard Show. And now, here's your host, Bell Howard. Howard. The Bell Howard Show, folks. It's a dark world out there. I mean, make sure you have plenty of canned foods, dry fruits, Cheetos, Cheerios, because this is it, folks. It's going to end. Putin will hit a bioweapons lab and release the deadliest virus the world has ever seen. And first of all, we should acknowledge that the U.S. has been manufacturing bioweapons in the Ukraine. That's what Hunter Biden was working on. So maybe we need to do a little recap here in order before everything just goes completely haywire and we go off the rails and we lose history altogether. Now, to this biolab in the Ukraine, if it gets hit, the stuff that will leak out of there will be 10 times worse than Wuhan. I'm sure of it. Did you see Victoria Nuland talking to Mark Rubio? She seemed very nervous about Russia getting their hands on this stuff. And this is how it ends. I mean, we're talking about mind-altering, DNA-altering chemicals. You know, zombie, this is the start of the zombie apocalypse. It's all the stuff Hollywood was trying to warn you about. Actually, they're not trying to warn you. I should rephrase that. Hollywood doesn't warn people out of any goodness in their hearts. They just tell you what's going to happen, like it or not. And this is going to make COVID-19 look like little Tommy's chickenpox party. Okay? Who's little Tommy? I don't know. But, you know, part of the problem is there are too many biolabs in this world. If we've learned one thing before the world ends, you know, let's cut down on the biolabs. Okay? Biotech, bioresearch, it's a recipe for disaster that we see time and time again. We cook up some kind of Frankenstein's monster in a lab and we say, oh, this will kill millions of people. Good thing we're the good guys. And we're doing this. Good thing a terrorist organization doesn't have a hold of this deadly virus that we made. But you know what? Let's share the research with China because, you know, what the hell? Let's let them get in on this. It's astounding. Just stop messing around with this stuff in the first place. Clearly, there's a partnership going on between Big Pharma and Science Inc. Science Inc. creates the virus through government funding, and then Big Pharma creates the medicine or the vaccine that will save us from said virus, and everyone gets rich except for the millions of people who have to suffer and die from it. And I guess that's okay. You know, we'll just have to tell future generations of humans that we all just live in one big biolab. The world is just one big Wuhan. So, you know, I'm trying to watch a good film to take my mind off of all this stuff. And I usually have a movie night every Sunday. Now, this is how serious the sanctions have gotten. I get my popcorn ready and sit down on the couch, fire up Netflix, and no movies. If you want to see Russian movies, you're out of luck. Netflix brought down the hammer and maybe the sickle too on all Russian movies. So I was all ready to watch Anna Karenina, and I couldn't because of these sanctions, and I had to settle for old Seinfeld episodes. You know, you try to expand your mind and get into a classic Russian story by Leo Tolstoy, and just because the name is Russian, they throw it off Netflix. But let me ask you something. Do the great Russian actors have to suffer for this? I went on to Amazon. You know, if anything good has come from these sanctions, it's that they've forced me to read. So I go online and I find a version of Anna Karenina, and here's the description. You tell me why this great story has to be one of the casualties of this war. Okay? Here's the Oxford University Press edition. This is the description on Amazon. Here it goes. At its simplest, Anna Karenina is a love story. All right, so the Russian sanctions include oil, gas, the blocking access to SWIFT, and now love. It is a portrait of a beautiful and intelligent woman. It's Women's Month, by the way, okay? they're always scrambling for stories about beautiful and intelligent women during Women's Month. And here's one, and they've axed it. They've given it the chop. So it's a portrait of a beautiful and intelligent woman whose passionate love for a handsome officer sweeps aside all other ties to her marriage and to the network of relationships and moral values that bind the society around her. Okay, so she's married and she's having an affair. See, it's getting good already. You know, these days on Netflix, they have nothing this deep. It's usually something silly like a movie about a flower or the adventure of a traumatized girl who finds her feelings or something. I don't know. Hey, kids, it's the latest movie from Pixar. Is it about a guy slaying a dragon? No. Is it about a boy and his robot? No, too gender specific. Oh, is it about a girl and a robot? No, those are outdated pronouns. You know, I give up. What is it about? It's about a feeling. A yeast-like feeling that floats through time and lands in the ear of a transgender duckling. Sounds great. You see kids lining up around the block for that one? Here's the description. Continue. The love affair of Anna and Vronsky is played out alongside the developing romance of Kitty and Levin. And in the character of Levin, closely based on Tolstoy himself, the search for happiness takes on a deeper philosophical significance. For philosophical significance, okay, don't go to Netflix. Just keep moving, folks. Nothing to see here. So, and here's something interesting. One of the greatest novels ever written, Anna Karenina combines penetrating psychological insight with an encyclopedic depiction of Russian life in the 1870s. See? The 1870s, way before Putin, and they still want to take it off Netflix. I want to know what life was like in Russia in the 1870s, for God's sakes. The novel takes us from high society St. Petersburg to the threshing fields on Levin's estate. With unforgettable scenes at a Moscow ballroom, the skating rink, a racehorse, a railway station, it creates an intricate labyrinth of connections that is profoundly satisfying and deeply moving. See, I didn't know they had ice skating rinks and race courses in Moscow. And all of that incredible insight is kept from the American public? It's a shame. Really is. All right, we have a wonderful guest today. If she was a vaudeville legend, and recently turned 112 years old. And the vaudeville days are over, say the Netflix execs, and I say not until this lady dies. The grand dame of shouty singing. Shouty singing was a style that was popular in the old days, with Al Jolson and Sophie Tucker, kind of around the Depression era. And my guest, like Tucker, is another brassy broad and who didn't suffer fools gladly and liked to smoke and drink and go to the racetrack, which in those days for a woman to do was scandalous, unless you were an entertainer, in which case people didn't care. But you can imagine that was more, women back then were more manly than men are today. Men don't go to the racetrack, smoke cigars, and lose all their money anymore. Now they're just at home sitting in a chair trying to learn how to code because their job's being taken by a robot. Okay, before we get to her, though, I can't move on without mentioning our sponsor, Banana Bags. A quick word from them. Look, Banana Bags are amazing. Finally, someone made a bag to perfectly fit a banana. And so, because every time you are... you have a banana, you want to take it to work, you want to take it to a picnic, you don't have a bag, right? We spend so much time trying to find a bag to put our favorite snack in, but they're just too big or too small. That's where Banana Bags comes in. They've got one size fits all, shaped like a banana. You pop it in the banana bag and or the banana sheath, as they like to call them. And they've got, right now, order now, you get a box of 1,000 banana sheaths. For half the price. Just put in the code Bell Howard. Liberty Bell is the promo code there. You get 1,000 banana sheaths. Perfect for your next picnic. Okay, now to my guest. She needs no introduction for people over 80 years of age, a vaudeville legend, and I knew her. My grandparents, I think, had some of her records, but I actually never listened to them. So I hope we can get a taste of what those old-timey songs sounded like. Anyway, here she is, an entertainer extraordinaire, and just celebrated her 112th birthday. It's Jerma Delorne. Jerma, Miss Delorne, welcome to the Bell Howard Show.
It's a pleasure, my dear friends. Thank you for this invitation. This is a great-looking crowd.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. Jerma, why don't you give us a little bit of your backstory? You were born in Detroit?
Detroit in 1910. My mother was a seamstress and my father was a pickpocket.
Times were tough, I imagine.
Troubled times are brewing. Sit back and take it slow. Sip a cup of joe, and I'll tell you, brother, about troubled times.
Wow. Right out of the gate, the consummate performer, and you could be singing about these days. These are troubled times we're in. What do you think about all that's going on right now with Russia?
I knew Putin. When he was a little boy.
Really?
I met him. I met Putin.
How?
I lived in Russia for 50 years.
Well, that's fascinating. I didn't know that. I thought you were over here making music with the likes of Sophie Tucker and Al Jolson.
Well, they went their way and I went mine. While Sophie was singing in the nightclubs for Al Capone, I was cozying up to Uncle Joe in Moscow. Sophie probably made a lot more money, but, at that time, Uncle Joe singing sweet and low. The boys from the band are back from Japan, but my Uncle Joe and I are in the back of the van.
Incredible. So you lived in the Soviet Union.
That was a big hit in Russia at the time.
And you met Putin, you said, when he was just a boy.
I said I wasn't there for the fall of the Soviet Union. I got out before then, but I met him when he was during the end of that great empire.
Wow, you're
My Russia mama, you always said to me, the workers are free now,
and you're
have real dignity now.
And you're 100.
And this is the shouty-singy part. And then she pulled me to her mother Russian bazooms, and all was well and don't let the American financiers rape this land.
And you're still firing on all cylinders. So tell me, what was it like meeting a young Putin? What was the circumstance there?
Well, he was a nice boy. I was supposed to sing at all the KG. I was supposed to sing for all the KGB recruits, you see, and they would come through. And I remember this one small boy stood out because he never smiled, and I thought he looks particularly psychopathic. And so I asked him his name, and he told me Vladimir Putin. And I love that name, and I turned it into one of the biggest hits of my time over there, Little Pooty. Little Pooty, don't look so snooty. Your eyes are gray like the Voronya. That's a river in Russia, by the way. And here's the talky-singy part. You look like the kind of boy that would kill a cat for fun, but somewhere there's a furry little animal inside of you. Don't strangle your inner child!
Well, I could see how that was a big hit. Jerma, Mrs. Delorne. Jerma.
Little Pooty.
Jerma, that's okay. You don't have to sing. Why don't you give those pipes a rest? Okay. Now, what's interesting is you were a loyal. I mean, you lived in the Soviet Union and you were presumably loyal to the Soviet Union. Why?
I liked it over there. People weren't... In America, everyone's putting on a show. I mean, look at that woman, Sophie Tucker.
Sophie Tucker.
Yeah, she...
Google Sophie Tucker if you're under 76.
You know, she was the biggest slut.
Uh-huh, okay.
She and her red-hot mamas. Well, we had real women's lib over in the Soviet Union. Women could wear overalls just like the boys, and no one batted an eye. In America, women's liberation came at a price. The price was your body, and you had to give your body to all the men in entertainment. Well, here in the Soviet Union, you had real equality.
Well, in theory, but were there any women in the Soviet consuls or the Duma with Uncle Joe, as you say?
Well, No, but I was with Uncle Joe singing sweet and low.
All right. You don't have to. Oh, okay, Jerma. All right.
All right. You know, and now Russia is back on track, and it got off track with Yeltsin, and then Putin steered the ship back where it needs to be, I think.
Really? So you think so? So let me take a wild guess and say your Twitter account doesn't have a Ukrainian flag as a profile pic.
Listen, as an entertainer, I don't take a side, but I have a song about the conflict because I can't get it off my mind. The world is going to end, my friends. One day it's true. But when it ends, make sure you're no one but you. And that's the way you do it.
So this is talky-singing, right?
Right, that's the technique, and I'm not to the shouty-singy part yet.
Okay, well, just one more.
Well, you just hold on to your seat here. And when they say life is like the Volga, a river is rushing no matter what side. But if my YouTube hasn't been taken down, be sure to like and subscribe.
Jerma, that shouty-singy stuff is going to blow out my speakers.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess it's nap time. Well, folks, the incomparable Jerma Delorne, what a set of pipes for a 112-year-old lady, and an honest-to-God commie and Putin supporter. Well, I wasn't expecting that. That was shocking. As always, the views expressed by guests on this show do not always reflect the views of myself or my producer, even though all are welcome. Again, we encourage free thought, free expression, free coffee, but not free love, because it's gross. So I guess I do side with her on one thing. Well, that was the show, folks. You know, you can like and subscribe on this YouTube channel or not. I really don't care. I don't care what you like. You do you. And that's it for us today. Remember, as always, stay safe, stay sane, and stay free. Bye now.